It's such a pleasure to have you in the studio. I'm so sorry for not being in the right place at the right time, but events transpired that I'm over in Nashville, but it's wonderful still to have you. Anaïs, I want to get into music, but very quickly also, who have you got with you in the studio there?
Sure, yeah, well, I have the Young Man Band, which is the band that we've been touring this new record with. We actually have all the members of the band in the studio, but we're playing sort of a stripped-down version of what we usually do on stage. And
okay, someone's not getting to play.
Well, we're all getting to play. One of us is just playing a few notes on a Nord Electro 3. So keep an ear out for him. That'll be Noah Hahn. He usually is playing fretless electric bass, but he's playing the keyboard, just a few notes on the keyboard.
He's not going in a bad mood about it or anything, has he? Is he okay about it?
He looks all right. He doesn't have a mic, so he can't really speak for himself.
Tell him he'll still get paid whatever he does. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. And then we also have, on some percussion, sort of primitive percussion and glockenspiel and banjo and voice, Ben Davis. And then on the piano and voice, Rachel Reese.
Well, welcome to you all. It's fantastic that you've made it. We're going to talk more about what you're doing in Glasgow. But why don't we start with, I think this is going to be the title track you're going to do from your new album. Is that right, Anaïs?
Yeah, we would love to do that. So this song is called Young Man in America.
Take it away.
My mother gave a mighty shout, opened her legs and let me out. Hungry as a prairie dog, young man in America, young man in America. Hungry, hungry, running every which way, young man in America. I come out like a cannonball, come of age of alcohol, raving in the field of rye, with a black and roving eye, black and roving eye, ravenous, ravenous. What you got is not enough, young man in America. Oh, shelter, mother shelter, mother shelter us. Ooh, my father was a lord of land, my daddy was a repo man. Put me out onto the street, didn't give a damn for me, did not give a damn. Daddy, daddy, gonna wish you never had me. I'm a young man, I'm growing right before your eyes. I might grow to such a size, blowing like a hurricane. Everyone will know my name, everyone will know my name. Blowing in, blowing up, shadow on the mountain top, young man in America. Oh, shepherd, father shepherd, father shepherd us. Ooh, in my feathers and furs, clothes of many colors, many men will envy me when I'm in my finery, me and my finery. Envy me, spending all my bright money, young man in America. Maybe I'd climb the stairs with a girl of golden hair, hold her like a sword and shield, up against this lonely world, up against the world. It's a lonely, lonely world for a yellow-headed girl and a young man. Like the wind, I make my moans, a howl in the canyon. There's a hollow in my bones, make me cry and carry on, make the foam fly from my tongue, make me want what I want. Another wayward son, waiting on oblivion, waiting on a kingdom come to meet me in my sin, waiting to be born again. Mother kiss me cheek and chin, a little medicine, and then I'll shed my skin and let me climb back in the bed you made me in.
Lovely. Anaïs Mitchell in session there with her band of musicians there playing various things. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Thanks so much. It's fun to play. It's fun to imagine you sitting a world away and play for you.
Well, it's great to hear it down the line. That was the title track from this new album, Young Man in America. And let's talk about the music. First of all, congratulations. This is something special, this record. I know the last one was very, very special too, and we'll talk about that in time. But this is something else. And you've just, you've made this album, and, I guess there's a kind of running theme throughout it, but explain to me what was a starting point, because Young Man in America, and you put yourself in the position of it, but what was the kind of trigger for it all?
Yeah, well, it wasn't like I had a grand plan, the songs were they just happened to be the songs that came in the time after the Hadestown opera, and they,
yeah.
But they, once they there's a critical number of them, then they kind of, you see that they seem to kind of link arms in a certain way. And of course on this record there's a lot of songs from the point of view of men. Clearly that song we just sang, the young man character, and then also my dad is sort of an important figure for this record, and there's another song that we'll play later on.
Yes, the Taylor, we'll talk about that. That's the song we've been playing on the show.
Oh, really? Yeah, we were going to actually play Shepherd instead of Taylor.
Shepherd,
okay.
sorry. Oh, well. No, it's fine, absolutely.
We'll play whatever you want.
No. It's good to hear all, because we'll play these songs anyway, so you just play what you want. No, it's fine. But but both these songs were influenced by him. But what was it particularly? Because I think I read a thing where you were kind of inspired by something you saw, a news story about, or just the events of just now, perhaps the recession and young men and what they were going through and what they were facing. Is that right?
Yeah, well, that Young Man song has sort of an intro song on the record, which is called Wilderland, and that was definitely the sort of the landscape that he exists in was really influenced by this idea of America as like a wild place almost, and I did see some footage during the recession and the housing crisis of these people being put out of their houses because they couldn't afford to live there, and their furniture out on the street, and this where are they going to go, and who's got their back, and this sort of feeling of almost like this frontier mentality.
Yes, it's still quite primitive. To us, we were quite shocked at these stories, and they reported on BBC News, a camp outside Boston somewhere where people who had been thrown out of their homes, couldn't pay their mortgage, were basically camping out. I mean, it was something. It was like something out of John Steinbeck or something like that.
I know. Did you read in the Rolling Stone issue of a couple issues ago? There was this article about the city of Detroit and how a lot of the people that left their houses, they left their dogs also, and the dogs became wild and roamed the streets of Detroit like in packs. It's definitely
So it's the times. I mean, that's a backdrop to the story. But I guess within that as well, there's a lot of themes of just basically identity and birth and death and so on. All the other big things are going on as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters that are sort of they're very sort of hell bent on whatever it is. You know, the young man is sort of pursuing some kind of satisfaction, and he can't seem to find it, and he feels very lost, and he's calling out for a mother or a father figure. It's definitely a sort of orphan feelings on this album.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we alluded to this earlier on, but you just come out of this big project, this kind of concept album. I was imagining that probably a bit in your head that said, well, whatever I'm going to do something, much more, personal, a straightforward record. In the sense, you've almost been drawn back into another kind of quite weighty theme as well, haven't you?
I guess you're right, although it wasn't my plan,
But look, well, let's hear some more music because we want to talk more. I also want to talk about Hadestown as well. What else are you going to play for us? Do I hear a banjo being tuned?
You have a sharp ear. Yeah, we'd love to play a song called "Coming Down."
Who's playing what here?
So
Ben's on the banjo.
You got it. Yep. And Rachel's on the piano.
She's still on the piano. Good.
She's still on the piano. And Noah's over there by the Nord Electro 3.
He's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, the harmonies on that last thing sounded beautiful. What are you going to play for us now?
So this one's called "Coming Down."
Okay.
I never felt so high. I never felt so high. I never felt so high. I think I'm coming down. I never laughed so loud. Never laughed so loud. I never laughed so loud. I think I'm coming down. Stop me now. Nothing gonna stop me now. Please, please don't leave. Easy feeling. Don't leave me like that. Not yet. Don't set me free, free. I never felt so high. I never felt so high. I never felt so high. I never stop me now. Nothing gonna stop me now.
Beautiful. Anaïs Mitchell in session there for Another Country with Coming Down from her new album, Young Man in America, with Ben, who was on the banjo. Ben was on the banjo. Rachel was on the piano, I think still, and Noah was still playing that Nord keyboard. Very well too. Thank you so much. That was lovely.
Thank you.
The banjo has just been invented there, I think, for future reference. Listen, on the last record that you did, which is this massive project, Hadestown, you described it as an opera, which it was. You also had amazing collaborators, and perhaps two of the people very much of the moment, and still of the moment, Ben Knox-Miller from the Low Anthem, and Justin Vernon from Bon Iver. How did that come about?
Yeah, well, it was, the Hadestown project was a really long road, kind of a long time in the oven. It started out as a theater show in the state of Vermont, where I'm from, and and so at first, we put it on with friends of ours singing the roles of the characters, just different people from bands around Vermont, and then when it came time to make that recording, I just started thinking about who might be able to sing the parts, and I was working with Ani DeFranco's Righteous Babe Records at the time, and I reached out and asked if she would be the Persephone character, the queen of the underworld.
Sorry, I forgot to mention her. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and she said yes, and even before she'd heard the music, so I think that was a kind of a leap of faith on her part, and her getting on board was really great, because then I sort of felt emboldened to ask other people, and so the people you said, Justin was really sort of a cosmic situation. I was hunting for an Orpheus character, and I couldn't find one, and we'd already recorded, all the tracks had been laid down in the studio, so it had to be someone who could sing kind of in any key. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we couldn't adjust the tracks to fit someone else's vocal range, and I got to open some shows for Bon Iver over in Europe, and they were just on their big first European tour with the For Emma Forever Ago record, which is just so beautiful.
I saw that tour. It was great. Yeah.
So great. Yeah. And I just knew, the moment I saw him that it had to be
He was
him.
a man.
Yeah.
He was your Orpheus.
Right.
How lovely. The interesting thing about the Bon Iver connection with you as well is, and I mean this in a lovely way, but it seems like the influence, the kind of styling of the harmonies has carried on over into the new album, or is that something that was always there with you?
Yeah, you mean the sort of the harmonies
styling
on
of
this
it.
record are kind
Yes.
of like maybe influenced by Bon Iver?
Slightly reminiscent of that.
That's cool, Yeah, you're probably right, and I think in a way there's kind of a lot of bands doing doing group harmony vibe right now.
Yeah.
It's almost like I think people want to hear like a group, like a gang, like they want. It's almost a ritualistic thing. It feels like a sort of a churchy vibe, and I think it's sort of something
It's
we're
lovely.
hungry for
And if
right
you can
now.
pull them off, well, you guys can pull the harmonies off. Tell me about Todd if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Sisyphus?
You got it, yeah.
Yeah, he's your producer, and he's a producer of the last two records. Would we know other things that he's done?
Well, for many years, he still is, like, his main gig is he's Ani DeFranco's bassist. And so he's toured with her for years and years, in big bands and also just with Ani, just playing bass with her. And he also, he produces various records for other people, but he also composes his own music, and he makes his own records. So
I mean, I'm sure you make your record, but it certainly seems to me to be a lovely combination listening to the record. And fun enough, you talking about listening to it on headphones, just because where I was staying, because I was jet lagged, I was up quite early, and I thought I can't wake the house up. And I was listening to your record on headphones, and a whole lot of things came in detail that I hadn't noticed before, which was lovely.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Todd has an amazing imagination for sonic stuff. It's definitely beyond me, and a lot of times, I would maybe express an idea, and I'd say, "Can you make this sound kind of British or something?" and he would come back with something that was that.
You'd give it a Beatles haircut.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, we want to hear some more music, so we will. The great thing about this Anaïs's music is that it does sound fantastically constructed on record, but equally it sounds great when there's four of them in the room just playing it live in session for another country. What are you going to do for us next?
Oh, thanks. Well, now there's only two of us in the room.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's Ben and I are going to play a song called Shepherd, which is the one I was talking about that's based on a book that my dad wrote.
We'll talk about that in a second. Let's do the song and we'll chat about that afterwards.
Sure. Said the shepherd to his wife, the crop of hay is cut and dry. I'll bale it up and bring it in before the coming storm begins. Go, she said, and beat the storm, and then there is another chore. Today the baby will be born. You'll take me to the hospital. Said the shepherd, if it's true, 'twere better if I stayed with you. I'd rather let the harvest go and hasten to the hospital. Nay, she told him, I'll be fine. We both have laboring to do. You do yours and I'll do mine, and the babe will wait till the work is through. The shepherd rode the yellow rose, the clouds above and the field below, until the bales had all been tied. Then homeward turned to find his wife. The sweat was wet upon her brow, her breath that cameth laboredly, and then the rain was coming down upon the field, the yellow hay. Said the shepherd, it's no use, the rain will surely win the race. 'Twere better if we let it fall and hurry to the hospital. Go, she said, and work with haste, and bring the bales into the barn, else the crop will go to waste, and the babe will wait till the work is done. The shepherd drove into the storm, and to and from the yellow barn, till half the bales were safely in. Then went to find his wife again. How many times her name he called, and no replying would she make. Her breath cameth none at all. She would not rise from where she lay. The storm was o'er within the hour. The shepherd saw the sun come out. The shepherd's wife saw ne'er again. He buried her and the babe within. He turned the seed into the ground. He brought the flock to feed thereon. He held the cleaver and the plow, and the shepherd's work was never done.
That one actually kills me. It's such a heartbreaking song. Anaïs Mitchell there in session, and Shepherd from Young Man in America. What an amazing tale. And you were saying, Anaïs, that was inspired by your father's book.
Yeah, the book is out of print now, but it's called The Souls of Lambs. And it's sort of a philosophical book. And that story that's in the song is just the very first chapter of it. It tells the backstory of the character of the shepherd.
And it's really the kind of moral tale of work over life, and you're saying I think I read somewhere your father had reflected on this at one point in his life about the wisdom of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, like, it's such a sad story because it's almost like it's no one's fault what happens.
Yeah.
But clearly, he'll regret this his entire life, and just that sort of the things that we are relentlessly pursuing or searching. In his case, he's just working. He's just trying to do his work, and then the important and pure things that we plow under, in our single-mindedness.
Yeah, and beautifully put, her breath cometh none at all. Lovely.
Very influenced by your old balladry.
I like it. And we're going to run out of time, so I want to make sure that we have a chance to hear your last song. What's the final track going to be?
Thanks so much again for having us, and we'd love to play a song called Dyin' Day. Be it work or be it right, Father, tell me, brings us to the mountainside. Every day a dying day, be it work or be it right. Oh, my sweet babe, we come to make a sacrifice. Every day a dying day. Sweet babe, it is the blood of the innocent. Every day a dying day, and who are you to understand the ways of him who holds the blade? And who are you to stay the hand of him who made you? Be it ill, be it good, Father, tell me, makes you bind me hand and foot. Every day a dying day, be it ill, be it good. Oh, my sweet babe, I am doing as I should. Every day a dying day, every day a dying day, every day a dying day.
Beautiful. Anaïs Mitchell in session there and Dyin